All right, so we are on to day 130 of going through my old journal. And if you're following along, here is the quote. Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. Do you have an illusion about anything or anyone that you really need to realize the truth about? I think I know what I wrote about on this. So yeah, if you're following along, think about this for yourself, and let's see what I said. So I said, I think I may be generating an illusion regarding my relationship with this person, but not all the time. Sometimes I feel like I'm thinking more rationally about the reality of us being together. At other times, I feel like I get wrapped up in the fantasy of what our future together could be, even though deep down I know things will never play out well with them. I'll never be enough to fully satisfy them. I don't think anyone will. At the same time, even if he were to change, I'm not sure that I could trust that the change would be permanent. Another thing I'm starting to realize is that I think I perceive him as being better than he actually is. I think I want to believe that somewhere deep down there's a good person, but the longer it goes, the more disappointed I am. Even though I do see some sort of connection for us in the future, that's fading as time passes and the lies and cheating pile up. I hope I get the strength to break the illusion fully soon. And I know how this sounds. I know, like, I've been getting into Reddit lately and watching, like, reading different Reddit threads, and there's people talking about their relationships, and it's so easy to just hear someone kind of like talking about their partner and like these terrible things that they're doing, and it's so easy from the outside to just be like, oh, just break up with them, like they're terrible, like just break up with them. But I mean, there's so many layers to that. Is just like, maybe there is a good side to staying with them, and maybe like you've got to weigh the pros and the cons of staying with them. There's other people who are manipulators, and they kind of know how to like play on your heartstrings to, there's some of the types of people that make you feel sorry for them and, play the victim with things. My dad was that way. And, and even the case with my mom and my dad, even there was so many times that I was just thinking, like, why doesn't she just leave him? As I get older and have been in different relationships, and I understand more like why she didn't leave him and how hard it could be to leave someone like that. And in her case, like, there was a lot of pressure on her because she had 2 kids with him, and she had her mother was pretty religious, and there was that pressure to like keep the family together and not divorce. And there's like a lot of outside things that kind of like come into play. But it is kind of crazy to me, some of the relationships I've been in, and I always thought, oh, I would never get, stuck like that, like my mom was. But it would happen. And, but I was never stuck. I think that's part of the reason I never got married, and I never had kids with anyone, and I never was like, I was always very cautious to fully settle down with someone. And I'm glad that I didn't, because I don't know that I would have been happy if I would have like got married to anyone or had kids with anyone. So I think that's kind of a good thing. But I have also like stayed way too long in several relationships. But this one in particular was really hard because I think I mentioned before, like, there were so many good things, like the lying and the cheating. The lies were related to the cheating. Like, from what I could tell, he was very honest, like, in other areas, but it was just the cheating and the lying. And, I would go through, and again, I've mentioned like coming to terms with my my menstrual cycle. Like, I don't think enough women or men or people in general like realize the hormones and how they can affect you on a month to month basis, besides, you know, just kind of like talking about it in kind of a comical way. Like, if a woman is emotional, like, oh, are you on your period? Like, that's not, like, there's more to it. I definitely think and react to things differently at different points in my cycle. And so I would go through like a point in my cycle where I'm like, it's fine, you know what? I'm getting all of these other things from him, you know, like we get along and things are good and it's nice to have another person around. And okay, so if he's going and meeting up with other people, that's that. I can separate, you know, that part of my life. But then I would get to another part of my cycle and it would really, really, really bother me. And I would just start feeling bad about myself. And, you know, it was like, it was so weird because I would go through like this empowerment of like, I'm taking charge of this and I'm still getting what I want. And then I would get to this other part where I'm just like, why is he doing this to me? And, you know, I don't know. Like, I could just say it was just, it's so weird to be a girl sometimes, I think. But I don't know. In any case, what was even the point of this? Let's see. Is there an illusion? Yeah, like I felt like I was like, and I think a lot of women talk about this too, and just people in general, how this can be a man or a woman, but I think it is common, at least on my side from what I've experienced with men. They will be a certain way when you first start dating. You will think they're this certain way. You will think that and then it's kind of like, so you have this perception of like what the future is going to be like with them, how the relationship's going to be. And then once you get like a few months into the relationship, the person, or maybe it's, you know, my fault. Maybe I start imagining things that aren't there, you know, that the relationship's going to be like this, and then it just doesn't happen, or that person's not the way that I initially like thought they were. And I keep trying to see this person that I initially saw, you know, the person they were at the beginning of the relationship, but then they change. But I still have hope that like person that was there is in there. Like, I think that's what I'm saying. Like, I keep like trying to trick myself into thinking like there's this good person in there. And yeah, like they talk about it like with, I don't know if it's narcissists or, you know, just certain people, like you'll be ready to break up and then they'll switch it back to like where they're this great person and they're doing all these things that you wanted them to do. And then they'll do it for just long enough to get you back on the hook, and then they'll go back to the way they were before. And so it's just kind of hard to like have hope that someone will be the person that you want them to be, and then they just keep not tricking you, but like, yeah, I mean, kind of tricking you and like being that person for a short amount of time, and you think that that's how it's gonna be, and then it's not. But once it happens so many times, you know, you've got to just wise up to the fact that that's how it's going to be, and you've either got to be okay with it or not. And that's what I was trying to figure out here. I'm like, this is how this person is. Am I going to be okay with this or am I not? And like I said, I went through points on a monthly basis almost where I would feel like, okay, cool, I'm okay with this, I can deal with this. And then I wasn't. And so it was kind of like back and forth. And I tried to communicate that with them. And I tried to be like as honest with how I was feeling about everything with them. But yeah, in the end, it wasn't what I wanted. But yeah, I'm just hoping that like through all of like my past relationships, I do feel like it's gotten better and better. But like I'm getting better at like understanding what I want. And hopefully like not putting up with, you know, anything that I don't want. But at the same time, like, I don't know why I'm even talking about this. I'm talking about it because I wrote about it, but I feel like this isn't even like an issue for me right now because I'm not even focused on having a relationship or like even thinking about having to deal with any of this is not even like in my mind right now because my focus right now is just school. So, you know, maybe in a while in the future I'll come back to this, but like I said, at this point, like, I don't even think I'm gonna get married, so I don't think I'll have to deal with this. And it sounds like a lot of women are coming to this point of like, I can make my own money, I can kind of sustain myself, so I don't need to like put up with somebody who's not up to my standards now. And maybe some guy, like, there's guys out there that are like going a little like crazy that women are saying this, but I don't understand what's wrong with that. Like, they're getting upset and they're saying women's standards are too high. Well, then meet those standards. Like, if you want to get a woman, then meet those standards. Like, at this point, you've got to be able to offer me something more than what I can offer myself. And like, I hope this doesn't make people mad because like guys are getting, like, I do not understand. I don't understand why so many guys are getting upset that women are basically like, if you don't have like this to the table, then you're not for me. So instead of getting like angry that women are saying that, they can either like try to meet the women's standards or just, that's not a woman that's for them. Like, the women aren't saying like we hate, like we like specifically anything bad about these guys. It's just kind of like, well, you're not for me. Maybe someone else is for me, but you're not for me. If you don't like that. I don't know, I feel like this is a little bit controversial because it seems very controversial on social media, but I don't understand why it's controversial. But yeah, I mean, that's basically where I'm at. If there's not someone that can bring to the relationship what would make my life what I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess like my experience in the past is like most guys have not brought enough into the relationship to make it worth having a relationship. If anything, they've just brought like more stress, more drama, and it's just better, it's just easier to live a life alone. And so if they're not bringing me something better than what I'm already like living alone, then what's the point, you know? So I don't know. Anyway, that's what I have for that. Then yeah, so I'm just gonna call it quits here, and I'll be back tomorrow with day 131.